According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, the Jets and Packers have re-engaged in trade talks after a dormant couple of weeks. So, so they are now talking again. They're on speaking terms again when it comes to trying to get this trade done. So it feels like we finally have some momentum here, and I don't know if it's going to happen on the Pat McAfee show starring A.J. Hawk, but point being there, Brady Quinn, that apparently the Aaron Rodgers to the Jets chatter is starting to pick up a little bit of steam here. Again, finally.
I mean, this is that next point in time where you say, okay, this thing can extend closer to the season, but once the first round of the draft, the second round, and all that happens, if we don't get the trade compensation that the Green Bay Packers want and the Jets are willing to give up, it then pushes to next year, which I think would be a mistake on the part of the, in my opinion at least, the part of the Packers. You'd like to really evaluate Jordan Love, and you'd like to be able to do so in getting him someone that will help him this year in his first year in full-time starting. So I just, again, I've said this repeatedly about the first round pick the Jets have this year. If that's what the hang-up is, there's no first-round pick as part of this deal. I can't believe that's what's holding it up for the Jets. For a piece on their roster that could help take them from being last in the division to being potentially first, potentially winning the AFC, potentially winning a Super Bowl. So I don't know what the holdup is. But again, that's just me. Obviously, apparently a lot of front offices value the 13th overall pick more, whether it's for a year or two or maybe three, however long Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. I kind of see it a little different, given the Jets' history.
I just think if I'm Green Bay, I got to get rid of Aaron Rodgers ASAP. I mean, and maybe I'm just saying that in the same way, but maybe a different way than what you just said. You got to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. You got to get rid of him, and you got to allow for your franchise and your fans to move on. I just think the longer that this drags out, the conversation pieces grow, the narratives continue to expand within Green Bay, not New York. You can't miss something that you never had. You can't love something that you never had the opportunity to have and love. So if it doesn't work out, the Jets are in no different a position than what they were in before all of this took place. But you still have the drama that's going to continue to grow in Green Bay. And we've already seen they can't stand up to Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay does not have anyone in that front office that can stand up to Aaron Rodgers. So why not just get him the hell out of there? Like, that's what I don't understand. He spanked y'all in the media and won. He won. Like, nobody came out and was like, Aaron Rodgers needs to shut his mouth and just play football. Nobody was like, Aaron Rodgers is horribly wrong and inaccurate with what he's saying. All these different things that Aaron Rodgers had to say when he came out with his flamethrower going into training camp a couple training camps ago. Nobody had anything to say. Then he comes in with his Nicolas Cage look this year. Nobody had anything to say. The dude is bulletproof in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it just doesn't make sense to me why you would allow this to continue to drag out, because in some type of way, shape, or form, you're still going to look at it as this is pro Aaron Rodgers. It's pro Aaron Rodgers. Aaron is going to win in the end. You know why? Because he's already got his contract. So whatever it is that's going to play out, it's going to play out in a way where Aaron Rodgers is going to come out on top. Whether it ends up being a San Francisco that slides in there and pulls a quick one, whether he ends up in New York like initially anticipated, even if some way, somehow he ended up back in Green Bay, he's going to win. And you know how bad that makes Green Bay's front office people, the GM, the president. You know how bad that makes those guys
they look like doormats.
I just don't understand. Get him the hell out.
At what
are you doing?
At what point are you no longer waiting around for the Jets to stop haggling over whatever draft comp it's going to be, or assurances that he'll be there 2 years instead of just one? At what point do you really start to kick the tires on, okay, we tried this with San Francisco before, we tried it a couple of years ago? I mean, I understand it's inside the conference, but I just wonder if people there, like, we're on the game in Wisconsin, we're on 1070 there. I wonder if Packer fans and even the front office at this point are like, look, he's going to play for at least 2 more years. If we can get a better deal and a couple of first-round picks from the Niners, yes, it'll be future first because they traded away a lot for Trey Lance, and we can get into the whole Trey Lance aspect later on. But at what point, if you're the Packers, you're like, screw it. Yeah, we'd rather trade him to the Jets so we don't have to potentially see him a couple of times over the next 2 years. But we got to get this deal done, and we got to move on to Jordan Love. And if the draft comp is better from the Niners, I don't know why they wouldn't at least entertain that.
There's nothing better than getting rid of Aaron Rodgers at this point. I could care less what team.
I wish he would have showed up to offseason workouts. I mean, for starters, he does have a bonus in his contract. I think it's $50,000 or something to that degree, but it's money he's going to end up foregoing, I'd assume. But if he shows up, it immediately would send a message that you're not going to mess around and not get this deal done. Because now I'm a liability to you in the event that I get hurt. There's an awkwardness now that's going to play out. And so if you don't get this deal done sooner rather than later, I'm not going to play nice. I'm going to show up and throw a wrench in this entire thing. Now, I don't think Aaron wants to do that because I don't think he wants to create a stir or cause a stir. I think he's got a lot of respect for, everyone in Green Bay. But if things got nasty, like that would be one of the fastest ways to get Green Bay to be like, okay, let's just get this done so we can both go our separate ways.
Would you guys rather see him with the Niners or the Jets?
Niners.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it would be so much fun to see him in a Kyle Shanahan system. It would. But I would want this for the Jets too, because I feel like that's an organization that, it just hasn't had as much success, right? And you find a way to put him in there. He walks in as the best quarterback in New York Jet history. Walking in the door, day one starter.
I mean, yeah, I look at it from what's going to be.
Unless you count Favre, but I still think Aaron's had a better career
at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if we're looking at what would be the best for this show, him with the Niners would be fun because then all of a sudden them being, second on the Super Bowl odds list going into next season makes a lot more sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people felt like they would be the Super Bowl favorites if you had Aaron Rodgers, even more so than Kansas City. But that would be fun to watch in Kyle Shanahan's offense, as you said. And then also just to live in a world where the Jets were so bullish on the fact that, no, we got everything lined up. He's going to be here. We'll go sign a wide receiver, and we can be patient. We can wait this thing out. And then they've got to come back to Zach Wilson and say, hey, man, apologies for all the stuff you heard this offseason. Let's try and make it.
But we're going to need you, Zach.
Yeah, listen, if you could bail us out this one
we're
last
going to need
time.
your services, the unique skills that you bring to the table.
I just want to live in that world. I just want to live in a world where they got to go back to Zach Wilson and say, really sorry about everything that happened. And the whole Mike White stuff, we were just flirting. That we weren't really interested in making him our long-term answer at quarterback. Obviously, he's now with the Miami Dolphins. I want to live in a world where the Jets blow this because I think that fan base is going to come unglued.
Do you think they go back to Zach Wilson, though? Or do you think
what other option? They don't have any options.
I mean, you kind of burnt the bridge with Zach at this point, right?
Like what do you do?
Ain't nobody this is the first time Zach's probably being discussed.
unless you want to make a run at Lamar Jackson.
Oh my god!
I mean, I don't know if that would be Plan B, but I
don't know.
Yeah, that'd be so. It should be interesting to see what we got this week. But if that could happen, that would be fun for everybody. Not Jets fans, but everybody else.